All right. Well, we are back, and
Mhm. For real this time.
for real this time.
What happened, Chester? Who
I'm
called out
not.
the hit?
I'm not really sure, but let's see if everybody can hear us. So if you guys are hearing us and where everything's coming through clearly, please let us know. Why don't you guys make some noise so they can see you?
Talk.
Thank you. All right. Yay, back, yay. Okay, everything seems to be working again. I don't know what that was, guys, but mm, we
We're back.
are. Yes, and this is having all kinds of troubles. There we go. And let's come over here and make sure you guys can see as well. And we'll try to continue, maybe. Yay. All right, here we go.
All right, we
Um,
were talking about fun race stuff.
um,
I
yeah,
think we
no,
said everything we. I think we said everything we needed to say for
no,
this
we
piece.
did say everything we need to say on that. It's just more silliness, and it's just sad for Peter, man. He's a really
Hmm.
nice guy. I mean, just go listen to one of his streams, guys, and you'll see how nice he is. It is. It was my handsome beard. Thank you very much, there, Jordan. But anyway, let's move on. Now, I'll do this in a minute, see if we get more people in. Let's just talk about some of this innocuous news here. Go ahead, Danelli.
Netflix raises their prices again. So in about 3 months, you should be seeing like about $2 to $3 rise in all the plans.
Oh, in America.
No, all of it.
No, actually, it's only America.
All
I don't
right.
want to pay more.
Yeah, well, I don't think you and I are. I'm still only paying $9 a month, so
Good.
mainly it's the America and the 58 million users in the United States that are going to be hit, not all of us. Yes, Peter is a cool dude. Let me see here. We have 7 viewers. Glad you guys back. If you could send out shares again to get people back in here, but
Mm.
oh
Let them know
man,
we fixed it, maybe.
maybe yeah. Just let them know we
Maybe.
we we did get this fixed. Uh, Netflix is in debt. Yeah, they are and they aren't though. Those numbers are being kind of twisted to the whoever's opinion is speaking at the time. I don't think Netflix is in any actual danger. But I think they're just the typical, just raising prices, trying to make more money on people. I mean,
Well, they're probably raising the prices for the more original contents that they're doing, the programs, because remember a lot of the programs they had was with Fox, and Fox is going to be Disney, which will be their direct competitor, so they probably can't use those property anymore.
maybe. Yeah, well, we know Disney Plus is certainly causing some trouble. John Daly Game the System says, "I'm not back. Don't look at me. I shan't. I shan't do that." But yeah, for you guys, I mean, there's 58 million Americans who use Netflix. It's a pretty impressive number, just showing you how much money they're making on a monthly basis. I mean, geez, it's really good. And of course, worldwide, it's also very popular. I don't know what their complete, Danella, do you have any idea on their complete annual pull?
They're looking like about $1 billion.
Oh, more than that. I mean, I'm not talking about their profit. I'm talking about their overall pull. I mean, if they got 58 million
But
users, and that is putting them at $580 million a month or more.
yeah,
I mean,
they're
that is
looking like
billions
about
of dollars
five.
a year.
Yeah, they're looking like about $2 or $3 billion easily.
So, oh well, I don't know. Does this bother you guys?
Well, some people might say that's too much and not opt to subscribe.
Maybe, maybe. But I might have something to do with. Does anybody know what Disney Plus is charging?
They haven't said what the price is going to
I
be.
see. Well, Nick W says I unsubscribed and never looked back. Okay, yeah.
Mm. Well,
Um,
normally an 18%, surge would be quite a bit. But when you just look at the numbers, 11 to 13, it's $2 more. I mean, that's like buying a comic book from $2 to $4. Not even that. It's more like from $2 to 250.
mhm.
It's not that I don't think it's that extreme. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think so either. But I get how people might want to complain about it. I get it. Anyway, this is
Comes down to content. If they're still putting things out there and there's some good things to watch on it, people will stay. If not, why? Because it's a meritocracy.
yeah, it is. It's
Yep.
going to come down if you like it or not. For
Yep,
sure.
and that's pretty much what it is.
Okay.
If you feel it's worth it, stay. Not go.
Well, with that, let's go
Yep.
over and take a look at some trailers because we love trailers. John Wick 3,
Ooh.
Chapter 3. John Wick Chapter
One I'm
3.
actually interested in.
Parabellum Cheese. Now, I don't know if this is any good of a trailer, though, but I'm going to play it. I'm going to play it.
Play it anyway. I don't care. I want to see. I want to see it, Chess. I want to see it.
No.
10
John
seconds.
Wick.
I don't like
It's just a
John
teaser.
Wick.
It's just a teaser.
I'm sorry. What is
Just
it?
one.
Gun. It's Kung Fu guns.
Kung
I don't
Fu
like
Gun.
John Wick.
Do you have, are you?
you wanna
Excuse
kick
me.
him?
Do you have a problem?
John Wick. Excommunicado.
I'm
in
channeling
3,
Todd, that's all.
2,
Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay. All right.
I
was
can
about
speak
to
for
kick
Todd.
you myself.
Well, it's definitely exciting. John Wick was a lot of fun.
I don't care if that's all the trailer is. I'm excited.
It's a
That's a
teaser
quick
for the
trailer.
teaser, is what it is. I think.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
Which is
well,
Thursday.
consider me officially teased. Oh.
Oh boy.
Yeah. No, it's John Wick is a lot of fun. So hopefully we'll get a full trailer very soon. That's probably what we're seeing here is in the next month or so we'll probably get an actual teaser trailer. So, but it says here Lionsgate will release John Wick 3 chapter 3 Parabellum's first trailer in January 17th. So there you go. So just a few days away. Okay.
Sweet.
Cool. We'll definitely watch it. And then we have another one to watch, and this one's going to be so awesome. Janelle, tell
Oh
me about this one.
no.
Ooh, Spider-Man.
Spider-Man Far From Home international trailer.
It's
I love the wing gliders. It's always made sense for Spider-Man to have like little glidey things, you know?
They were always there before, little webby things under his arms. Yeah.
Although they do make Nick Fury seem like a little bit more of a jerk than he actually is.
Oh my goodness, who?
Here we go. Here we go. It's
Well, I
coming.
mean, he did get dusted, so he's like, and then he did have to act next to Brie Larson, so anybody would have a bad mood from
These
that.
no.
No banana. Great.
This is different than the other trailer I saw. This is international.
Guy in the chair. Oh, is it? 'Cause,
It's gonna
yeah, I
be
saw
great.
that too.
I'm just gonna enjoy my trip.
I saw the
Hang out
other one.
with
This
MJ.
is showing
like
much
really
more of them in
pretty.
the airport.
And therefore I have value.
No, that's not what I meant.
I'm messing with you.
Yeah, we don't care about you. You're not Mary Jane. Jump off the balcony. Jump.
really nice.
Jump.
Really reminds me of when.
You're just MJ. That's it.
Come on. Come on.
So nice to
guy.
finally meet you.
No,
Shooting
I
a teenager. Good job, Nick.
I don't like this.
Put some
No,
clothes on. Let's go for a ride.
I don't want Nick Fury to be talking to Spidey. It's too
Nah,
soon.
well,
Fury
that's
just
something they've
hijacked
been
her
doing with the
summer
kids stuff
vacation.
recently.
Awesome.
What? Kid stuff?
You got gifts,
Yeah,
Parker.
they've been doing
You
it in
have
the
a
kids
job to
animation
do.
with a lot of stuff.
What's
with
this
Nick
goofy-
Fury
Are you
being a
going to
mentor
step up or not?
Oh, he's on his own for a while.
Yeah, I know. They can't have him that because he's a kid, and kids have to be, they have to be guided by people like
Guided.
Nick Fury who shoots teenagers. Goodness gracious.
I don't want
Friends
Nick
are in
Fury
trouble.
in this yet.
What are you going to do about it?
We got Hydro Man, we got Sandman, we have Mysterio.
No,
You
the elemental, not them.
Tell me that's not Sandman and Aquaman.
No, those are the elementals.
But
That's
they're just
Mysterio,
illusions.
for sure.
Yeah, that's
They're his
Mysterio.
He's doing
Who is that
Syndrome
Iron
from
Man and Thor rolled into one.
He's no Spider-Man.
Incredible.
From the Incredible.
With you,
Right.
Listen.
But he looks out for the neighborhood, has a dope suit, and I really respect him. Sup, loser?
Yeah. Now, in the English one, he said something different. In the American trailer, he'd said something like something WAD. You know, he used a
Yeah,
more American colloquialism, I guess. But
yeah.
here, I guess they just dubbed him in saying loser, which you can. It's like, we didn't see that at all. We didn't see any dubbing. I didn't see you see any ADR there. No, I didn't catch it. But
That is so much what we do. We do comic skate guys. They constantly snarking on each other. That's what we do. That's I stop my head from exploding. Because I don't need Nick Fury. He shouldn't be trying.
watching some Spider-Man thing years ago, and they had like weird like spider bikes and all this kind of gear they had, but he was recruited by Nick Fury, and they also had White Tiger, I think. They had Iron Fist, they had Nova. It was some team thing that Nick Fury had put them together. So I think that's where they're getting it from. I'm not exactly sure of the canon in the comic, but
Well, as much as I don't like it, I
Mhm.
can hypothesize because when you look at now the phase 4 that we're moving into, right? We're going to put the other guys to pasture and they're not going to be part of the big mainstream MCU Marvel lineup, right? You're going to have Captain Marvel
Mhm.
and Spider-Man. And so they need to have that connection with Nick Fury so that he can be sort of the man in the shadows that's leading the new Avengers group. So when they try to piece them together again to fight the next big evil, there has to be a reason for him to contact him again.
Yeah.
And I think that's where they'd be starting that process now.
Possibly, yeah, but the thing I notice also with in the other Homecoming movie, obviously she's Mary Jane, even though she's not Mary Jane, um, and she had several of those SJW or progressive comments. But you notice in this one, she makes one and then says, "I'm just messing with you." So they intentionally try to back her up from that type of progressive thinking, and they wanted to make sure we saw it in the trailer, right?
But
So
they're also not serious with it because they know if you actually are serious with SJW stuff, you go broke.
that's true. It is true.
Denali dog's going crazy.
Yeah. But I
I love
mean,
it.
they got him with the gliding webs on. Okay, whatever. I don't know. What do you guys think in the chat of this? I'm not
Yeah,
seeing any
it looks okay.
comments here on it particularly, but yeah, I don't know, dude. It's
What I'm wondering is, weren't they talking about a trans character in this movie?
uh maybe, I don't know. Were they? Do we need one?
I think I heard something about that, and it makes you get, oh no.
No, I remember hearing about it. They were putting out an ad for auditions. Yeah,
Mm,
yeah. But I mean,
we'll see.
whatever. I didn't really care that much for Homecoming, but I didn't hate it either. I think it's very mixed opinion. I suppose the movie's not really for me. They're really making Spider-Man more for the teenage, young adult crowd, and that's fine. What did you guys think of Homecoming?
I still haven't seen it.
Yeah,
It's
Oh
okay.
no.
it's okay.
I have been very bad at keeping up with movies lately, particularly the Marvel ones.
Mhm.
I still haven't seen Thor Ragnarok, Homecoming.
Oh no.
Well,
Please
Ragnarok,
Yeah,
do.
I
I
didn't like Ragnarok.
one of them my Marvel movies. I just don't care. I feel like once you've seen one of them, you've seen them all.
But the
That's how I feel about the Marvel movies.
Go eat mayonnaise.
well, this isn't a Marvel movie. This is Sony, right? But keep in mind
I thought it
that
was the Marvel Studios.
well, yeah, it is in affiliation with them, true. But in the American trailer, same trailer, but the American version, they actually had a scene where they had Denali, who's the guy that works for Tony Stark that's connected to Peter?
Happy.
Happy
Happy, yeah,
Hogan.
there, Happy Hogan, right? Now, Happy is come in, and May Parker is there, Aunt May, and there's instant chemistry going on because they have to separate her from the Tony's thing because Tony's with Pepper, right? So I guess Happy's
Right.
the new boyfriend, and Peter's like, "What's going on here?" So there was a
I,
little
I
scene there.
I don't think it has to go as far as boyfriend. I think just the flirtatious concept,
Yeah, yeah, they just want to
you
separate
know.
it, but
The Aunt
why?
May actress is like 47. No,
She is.
Oh yeah.
54. She is 54.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
she's a
And
good-looking
she's
lady,
so hot.
but Aunt
Marissa
May shouldn't
Tomei.
be hot though.
Damn. No. But she also should never have been like Granny May. That's how she's always seems to be portrayed, like a granny.
Yeah,
but
but
she's supposed to be
that's
like someone.
You know what though?
And good
This
God,
Aunt May,
I want to shag this auntie.
this Aunt May allows her to actually be in trouble if they come to that, and you will believe it. If you have the frail old Aunt May and you put her in the MCU moment where the villain's going to come after her, you're not going to believe any concept that she can resist falling down and not breaking a hip.
maybe.
Marissa Tomei, on the other hand, you could see her running across the room, yelling for Peter for help. He webbing her, pulling her, and she survived the whole ordeal.
Yeah, I get your point. I just like the traditional Aunt May, but it's okay. The whole thing's okay. I mean, the only thing that the little weird things they do that really bugs me because I like this kid. I like the kid quite a bit, Tom Holland. The only thing that bugs me really is the MJ thing, and it's like, why? There's so few redheads, man. Why are you taking them away?
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
And
Oh,
something
redhead
about
shame.
Homecoming that you said was, first off, it's Tom Holland because he actually is a dancer. He did that on stage, and that led to him being a gymnast.
Hmm.
And I got a gymnast in my house. They're amazing guys, and they actually stopped using CGI in certain areas because he could do the maneuver and it looked more authentic and more cool than they could actually dream up in the computer. That is so cool. Then you throw in um my man Vulture. I forgot his name now. It's here in the chat. Michael Keaton. Michael Keaton did an amazing
Yeah,
job.
he did.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, trusty sidekick. You know, that was a great, and his kind of his costume, everything on the translation of much of that for Homecoming is what made it for me. But you're right. Then you throw in MJ, and she's kind of the foil
Hmm.
for the fun at this point.
Yeah. Now, Nick W says this is Miles Morales movie. Everyone knows it, and there are touches from it, like his chubby sidekick, his friend that he's hanging around. Instead of being the Irisborn boy, they've replaced it. And if I
Harry.
understand it correctly, Miles Morales that's Miles Morales' sidekick, right? His friend,
Uh,
Yep.
right?
well, maybe Harry Osborn will pop up when he goes to college because we have the option of seeing Spider-Man now, like we saw Harry Potter. We grew up with him as the actor grew up, the story grew up with him. And I think that lends this whole Spider-Man concept, watching Tom grow and the character grow and going to college. And then Tom's going to become a man. And if they portray the young man Spider-Man, who's now an adult, mature Spider-Man, I think there's some great potential for some movieage there,
Yeah,
especially if we had a real, honest to goodness, redheaded MJ.
it would be nice. But just personally. But how old is Tom Holland right now?
22, 23.
So he is pretty young. And yeah, I like the kid, and he's very enthusiastic. He's very happy to be doing Spider-Man, and that's all great. So I don't know. I just think this isn't. It isn't really made for me. And which I said is fine. It doesn't have to be made for me. Whereas the MCU movies are really made more for a broader audience. This is really for, kids and young adults is what this is for. And it
Yeah.
is what it is.
Well, and that's one of the great things about the MCU. You may not like one, but you may like the other one because each
Yeah.
one has a different theme and different concepts that go along with the movie, underlying themes that they like to put in there.
Mhm.
The only thing is, if you want to keep up with characters, then you have to, maybe see the other movie that you don't necessarily like, so that when that character shows up later on, you maybe get the joke or something in the movie you do like.
Mhm. Well, we have a lot of opinions over here in the chat. Derek Tyler says, "What? Make a female in distressed? That ain't happening anytime soon." Okay.
Oh, true.
Thundaro Theodane says, "Because they are white, Chester." Okay, thank you.
It's
MILF May
too white.
only, please, Booster. You could say that here, dude. Uh,
Well, I was interacting with the chat as well, Chester. I'm just entertaining the audience how I can,
mhm, mhm, mhm.
mingling with the underlings in the
I
chat,
mean,
Gail says you're not clever.
getting up the level of the peasants.
it sounds like most people are okay with MILF May, because that's what she is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh well.
Oh my goodness, she is a MILF. Oh lad.
She is absolutely. She is. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But
And she that portrayal that they do is really good because she's his aunt. And if you've ever seen an aunt type person who's not a mom trying to mentor instead of mother, they actually portrayed that really well. Marissa Tomei pulled that off good. Tom did as well. How they did that interaction was really close to the mentor concept instead of the mom concept. I've seen that personally in my life, and so kudos to them on being able to show someone who's actually seen that and have experience with it, really bring it to the screen.
yeah, and I really it didn't bug me so much, but the Homecoming movie did have a lot of SJW isms in it. Certainly was. But my daughter, for instance, she loved it. She really is a big fan of that movie. So you know, it is what it is, and for some reason, Thundaro is spanking someone with a wrench. All right, have fun.
Well,
Well,
they probably
anyway,
deserved it.
he probably did, yeah. Our last bit of story we have here, well, we don't really need that. Let's go ahead and move into our. This is since we're at the top of the hour. This is the time to do our comic
Yes.
book. So today, guys, we're going to be talking about Quasar. Now, I know that he isn't the necessarily most well-known character in Marvel, particularly from people who aren't really comic people, which all of us are. First thing we're going to do because of that is we're going to have DeWolf give us a breakdown and an explanation of exactly who Quasar is and what has brought him to this point that we're going to be doing in this comic book here.
Right, because this is a very interesting point, and you can get very lost without some setup. Well, first off, it's just Quasar, right? So we'll start off with just that whole concept that you had a guy named Marvel Boy back in the 1950s. He got a hold of these quantum bands, the bands of power, and he did some crime fighting. He got a little uppity, and then he decided to do some things that were not so good, and basically paired off against the Fantastic Four. That didn't go well. And the power that's inside these bands, if you don't use it wisely, and it can overpower you. And they did that and basically disintegrated him. So they held on to these bands for a couple of years. And then in the 70s, all of a sudden, Marvel Boy shows back up, but he is Wendell Vaughn. And he changes his name to Marvel Man. He does some 2-in-1s with the Thing. He fights the Hulk, and then that's when he realizes he needs to change his name to Quasar. He becomes the head of security for Project Pegasus. After, of course, when he puts on the quantum bands, it's because they're being tested by his father and Tony Stark.
Mm-hmm.
And AIM shows up, and he puts the bands on, and he was deemed not worthy of being a SHIELD field agent. So he's a prior military veteran. He's a SHIELD agent. He's smart. He can fight, but they say he has his pacifist streak. He doesn't have the fighting edge, the bloodthirsty thing that makes
Killer
a good
instinct.
fighter.
Yeah.
The killer instinct. So they just made him a security guy. He was doing security, and then he saw these quantum bands. They just got through disintegrating another guy that they were trying to test with them. So he decides, hey, I need to put these on. I got to stop AIM. Once he does that, he's got all this power coursing through him. He flies up into the sky so the explosion doesn't hurt anyone else, and he just lets the power go, which of course saves his life because he doesn't have that fighting killer instinct. So of course he goes on, and we watch him go to Uranus, and to find out where the power bands came from. He fights the guy.
Come on, Duel. How is it pronounced? Come on.
He fights a guy named Death Urge, who's kind of like the embodiment of suicide. And this is the starting of him now in the cosmic concept of he's always encountering these entities, these sentient creations, the Celestials, all the other Celestials, right? Eternity and all those. So when he gets killed by Death Urge, he meets Eon. And so Eon is this plant-looking, big-eyed creature, and he becomes the protector of the universe under Eon, who, of course, poof, you're back to life. and that starts the whole concept that he has to protect the universe from this evil being that's going to come about, which is it was Maelstrom. Maelstrom's going to destroy and cause problems all throughout the universe. And Quasar gets to meet up with Infinity. He goes face to face with Eternity. He meets all these Celestials. He dies 4 times in the process and always keeps coming back.
Mm-hmm.
In the meantime, this is his latest incarnation of death, because we find him right before this in issues 40 to 42, where he's involved in the Infinity War. Now, the Infinity War is not the Infinity Gauntlet in which Thanos tried to, destroy half of the universe. The Infinity War is where Magus, Adam Warlock's alter identity, Magus is trying to take over. He has several cosmic cubes from various realities. All these heroes and Celestials start piling up, trying to stop Magus. He gets a hold of the Infinity Gauntlet by once again tricking them in some twist of mind trick. And Eternity is the one that has to even release the Infinity Gems. And so in the meantime, Quasar went up against Thanos at one point, and Thanos created Marvel Boy and several other of these previous protectors of the universe. He sort of resurrected them out of Eon's bodily goo, we'll just say. So Marvel Boy, this recreation of Marvel Boy, he's not really the real Marvel Boy. He's a Thanos creation. He's still on Earth. He ends up running around for a while, and he meets up with the Punisher. And this is important later on. He meets up with the Punisher, and he wants to be the Punisher's, cool buddy. And so he creates this quantum gun and ammunition and armor all over him, so he can pal around with the Punisher. You can just imagine this idea. In the meantime, Thanos now, he is with this group of people in the Infinity War, and they have to figure out how to get rid of the Magus. To which they say, "Hey, Galactus, we need the ultimate nullifier. The ultimate nullifier can nullify anything." So he says, "Quasar, you're protector of the universe, and I've got a chip on my shoulder because of the time when you bonked my head about 20 issues back. You take the ultimate nullifier and you use it, because it's very dangerous also to the person who's trying to use it." And matter of fact, there's an interesting part there where the Human Torch says, "Well, maybe I should, because I've held it before," right? Going all the way back to the original time where Galactus showed up at Earth.
Yeah.
So Quasar takes it, he uses it. Magus already has the Infinity Gauntlet. He turns it back on him. Quasar is now ultimately nullified and dead. So once again, he's dead.
Again.
That's where we're going to find him in this particular issue. And you also find out here Thanos now decides that he has got to contact Marvel Boy, and he tells Marvel Boy, "I want you to go to this realm that Quasar is being held in, because he has the possibility of being resurrected by Eon once again." And so Marvel Boy gets teleported by Thanos right into the Protector of the Universe White Room to blast away and destroy Quasar. And Quasar just had a conversation with the Angel of Vengeance, because he was slain before his time because of the Ultimate Nullifier, because of Thanos. Because an agent of ultimate evil killed him. The Angel of Vengeance, which I've never heard about before, but these cosmic entities exist out there, comes to give Quasar this fiery sword so he can avenge his death. And that's where we show up here at issue 43.
Wow.
Is everybody on board?
Yes, we are. I guess we know who Quasar is.
Yes, of course. I was listening the whole time.
Mm-hmm. But Draken is here, and he says hello. How you doing, guy? Yeah, let's go ahead and get into this and read this. That was a nice catch up, because I think a lot of people don't really know who Quasar is. But this says the Quasar for the fight for the title, and we have this art here, and the winner takes the universe.
Speaking of art. Andy Smith did the pencils, and Ralph Cabrera does the inks.
Mm-hmm.
And so these guys actually are around today. I believe they even do commissions. There is some really good art. I know we're going to pick it apart. And of course, the story is by Mark Greenwald.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to read the titles and stuff as I usually do. Of course, DeWolf will be Quasar, and Booster is going to be Marvel Boy.
This should be absolutely beautiful.
It should.
Let's get started.
I shall. Wendell Vaughn, the first Earthman ever appointed protector of the universe, bound to the energy transforming quantum bands that are both weapons and symbols of his station. He fights in an ongoing battle to defend all life in the universe from cosmic evil. Stan Lee presents Quasar. Somewhere beyond the reality we know is the White Room, the infinite chamber where all the past protectors of the universe sit for eternity, unable to move. Recently, Quasar, the current protector, materialized here evidently as a consequence of having activated the ultimate nullifier. His efforts to free himself proved futile. His only hope seemed to be in the form of a sword wielding angelic manifestation promising him salvation. But then a figure clad in quantum armor burst in and blasted the angel to atoms.
So I've been told this character is a quite a bratty sort, something like a Superboy Prime, right?
Yeah.
So let's see if I can really capture this character. I'm the new protector of the universe, Quaze. And you're gonna stay dead, even if I have to kill you again myself. Huh. Believe
Well,
this is
Quasar.
Todd, it's
Oh,
your big
wait.
moment. Thanos is gonna be pretty darn proud of me for him, how I took care of him. Wouldn't want Quasar to come back and claim his old job. I'm doing it now. Me, the Blue Marvel. Is this still him? Yes. Hey, the sword that winged guy was holding is still floating here. Let me see that thing. Yow! Gave off some kind of shock when I tried to touch it. Must have some kind of force field around it. Maybe one of these cheer jockeys know what's its story. You! Answer me or I'll atomize you like you just saw me do to the last two. What's with that sword? Oh, I have to say ask him.
Yeah, Denali.
Ask him.
Ask who?
Ask who?
Me.
I love it. The triumphant return.
Me.
What the?
Look at the
It
artwork.
can't
though.
be. I
This is
blew
actually
you to
really-
smithereens.
This is actually a really good shot. I think it's a great artwork right there.
I love it. I love
Yeah.
the star cape. It's so cool.
Yeah, I'm as surprised as you are, Bazooka Joe.
Bazooka Joe. Sweet.
Now, of course, this is because he's trying to emulate the Punisher.
I see. You mock me when you have nothing but that puny pig sticker?
Looks like it's all I need to block your blasts.
Swing! Whoa!
Hey, Dolly, you're up.
Just when it's getting interesting, it passes from my field of vision.
I don't know what's happening to me. He formed my body after he slagged it. How come I'm suddenly able to move from the chair, or how I seem to have superpower without my quantum bands? All I know is I feel great for the first time in who knows how long. Blue Marvel, look out. You're about to have one heck of a fight on your hands.
Ooh.
Whoa.
He went through this rent in the curtain. So long, White Rimmers.
Quasar escapes. But that's not fair. The White Room is our place of eternal punishment. It is as I said. This is purgatory. Quasar goes fight the final battle. Will determine if he hereafter blessed or cursed.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile,
Yeah. So
Meanwhile,
those guys, each one of them thought that it was their own version of heaven or hell or Valhalla or whatever. It's kind of an interesting little room.
Mhm.
I'm sorry.
Meanwhile, on the other side of the galaxy, two women of Earth stand on an alien world. So let's have Booster and I will do this. I'll be
All
the
right.
redhead, and Booster can do the black hair girl. I think
So
that
silent, Athari. Girl, don't you see what's happened, Kayla? You're driven off the entire fleet of space invaders, blew them away with the power of that star tattoo behind your ear.
I I guess I did, didn't I? The chief examiner was right. I am powerful. Oh, Holly, if only I figured out how to use this stupid power sooner, I might have been able to save countless lives, maybe millions of scatamites who lie dead and dying from those horrible alien death rays.
Don't blame yourself, Kayla. How are you supposed to know how to use that tattoo when you don't even know how it got there?
Mm. Oh, wow. I pressed against with my palm and it moved onto my hand now.
Mm-hmm. Maybe we can use that power to find a way off this decimated mud ball.
Why? Why has she got that voice? I'll take us to a city or something. Maybe we can find a spaceship or something. I love how
Mm-hmm.
broad their
Go,
shoulders
girl.
are.
Oh yeah, yeah. She's got quite the shape there.
Booster.
Where am I? Oh, I'm this way. Uh, you sure you don't have the slightest idea how you got that power?
I can't imagine unless.
Unless what?
Well, ever hear of that new Avenger, Quasar?
Mm-hmm.
I I know him pretty well. I can only imagine that he somehow gave me this power to me.
Woo!
And
Woo.
here's a city,
Is that
and
still
it
me?
doesn't look like it was touched by the space invaders. Maybe there's somebody alive here, somebody who can help us. Now, just note they said it hasn't been touched by the space invaders.
Oh, here's my girl.
This is Booster. You need to speak, dude.
Am I saying I'm keeping my fingers crossed? I'm keeping my fingers crossed.
Denali, go. You'll read this Kismet here. Elsewhere on the planet, another woman, once of Earth, a woman named Kismet, who is also a being of power. At the moment, she sits recuperating from a wound sustained in the battle with the alien fleet, totally oblivious to the presence of the other two.
Bizarre. First, that intense burst of white light, and now the whine of alien disintegration rays shafting the atmosphere cannot be heard. A little bit up, please. What has happened? Had the invaders finished their grisly work and gone? Or did something drive them away? My shoulder wound has almost healed. I believe I'm fit to fly, and I will solve this mystery.
Now, as a point here, this is Adam Warlock's sister, and so if she sustained too much more damage, instead of just flying down and healing, she would have ended up in a cocoon state.
Right.
And she didn't want, and she would have been out of the story.
Nick W
Oh,
says,
man,
meanwhile
she
on Cinemax, Jordan says, why is Booster a black woman? Yeah, I don't know, dude. I thought,
Because the
whatever.
character. Look, I just went with what the character was to me. Okay.
Then that's fine. Nick
She was
W
a
says,
sassy
Actor's
black sidekick.
choice.
yes, true.
Actor's choice.
Wait, Nick W says, wait, is that the Star brand? Yes, it is. Draken
It
says,
is a Star brand.
It is. Draken says, not knowing how you got a tattoo sounds like an ordinary night for thoughts. Ooh. Okay,
I thought it
Derek
was like their
says
rite
Nick
of
W. The
passage.
Star brand did come into this series. Yes, it did. Well, actually, Quasar becomes their Star brand, right? Jordan. She looks like a blonde Starfire. Very good point.
Yeah, and I think the naivete that she speaks with in lots of the comics, and she's around in the Quasar comic quite a bit. She tries to have Quasar's offspring. Well, she actually tries to make Quasar have her offspring. Yeah, it's kind of naive. It's kind of the way I've kind of seen Starfire portrayed as much as I have so far.
Kismet does that. This one right here, not the other one.
Yeah.
Okay, well, continue, Denelli.
Let's skip this page. It's boring. Let's go to the
Yeah,
next
yeah,
one.
go on.
Moving on, I guess. They have spoken.
Although that's a nice splash there of her.
Nothing, no signs of activity.
Outside the White Room.
I was beginning to think I was going to have to come back in and get you, Quaze.
You know what they say, Marv? Only fools rush in. Now, why don't we chill a bit and.
Kill this!
Boom.
Whoa! You know something, Marv? You're a disgrace to those quantum bands.
Yow! My Q blast ricochet.
You got me wrong, Marvel. I don't want to fight at all. You're the one who's testosterone addled.
Ooh.
Gah!
Spang.
Bang!
Spang. Yeah.
Gah!
This sword is incredible. Stronger than his quantum power, or he's just sloppy about how he manifests it. Look, Marvel, I don't want to beat you. All I want is information. Where are we? How'd you get here? What?
Shut up! I'm busy sorting things out.
He's got my sense of humor. Okay, Marv.
Sorry.
No more funny stuff. Whatever you throw at me, I can blow through. Believe it. Now, let's do something about that awful getup of yours.
Wish! Foo! Hey!
It's still you, dude.
Your
No.
getup has gotten up and left.
Nice. Didn't even scratch me.
Zorroed him.
This is Quasar.
Yeah. Okay, now talk. Where is here? How did you find me here?
Okay, well, you see, my boss.
Who's your boss? Thanos?
That's right. You deserve a big hand. Wham! Got him!
All right, scroll.
This is
Got him
still-
good.
Oh,
Keep going. Still
Yes,
you, Booster.
smushed like a bug.
Wow. So wonderful. Okay, I guess we're skipping Kismet, huh? Fine.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah, she's involved in the Black Fleet and stuff.
Yeah, this
The
page right
mourners,
here is the reason I mentioned before is because they said it was untouched, but we see it isn't untouched. It's absolutely obliterated. And everyone's dead. So why is it? Is it untouched or is it everyone dead? I mean, this is a mistake
Oh,
in
that's a good point.
continuity. Then they go on talking about stuff. Here, let me drop out of this real quick.
Yeah.
Come over to here, and let me just skip a few pages. We know how that is, you know.
So what happens here is, she got the Star Brand. Quasar did some interdimensional hopping because that happens with him quite a bit, and he ended up in the other universe. Marvel tried to boot the new universe, and the Star Brand was the greatest power that was going to be in that universe. So his quantum bands did not work. He got the Star Brand, and he used it to dimensional jump back. And then he smooched up with Kayla there, who then got the tattoo, just like it because it can move around on her, right? So it moved from him to her, and there you go. So now she has superpowers because that's what happens when you hang around with other superpowered beings.
Yeah. And just reading a lot of this, I can see why it only lasted like about 60 issues.
Easy.
Because it's dense and it's weird. And, for kids, while it's not talking down to kids, it's too much information. And you kind of get like, I don't know what they're doing. Going to purgatory. They're in space.
Exactly. Here you've got this purgatory zone. Whenever he was fighting to stop the menace to the universe, he ends up meeting up with becoming part of Infinity, and Eternity shows up, and he's fighting against Oblivion, the entity, and he actually wins by some technicality of being an anomaly because he saved an old woman named Origin in a hospital bed issues way back. And it's just some sort of twist in logic that he ends up winning the battle.
Now, the pages that I skipped here was simply what was going on with the girls on the planet, and he was sitting here, and Quasar has realized that he doesn't have his quantum bands on, but yet he can use his ability. He's going to trust in this sword, and Marvel Boy decided just to make a run for it. Which brings us into Marvel boy.
Booster.
Oh, I'm here. I'm here. This is supposed to be like shooting ducks in a barrel, Quasar. Without Quasar, without his Q-bands, powerless. Got to talk to Thanos. Maybe he'll know what happened to Quasar. Why he's so. Huh? Nani? That flash of light. Don't tell me. Yikes!
You can't run, Marvy.
Oh, you can run, Marvel.
But you can run, Marvy, but you sure can't.
Don't tell me what I can or cannot do, pal. I'm the new protector. You're washed up. Yesterday's news. Let me show you how to use that flaming pig sticker.
Ooh, Quasar got run straight through, dude.
Again, 2 issues ago, he got skewered by a bunch of Death Urge's dark blades, to which he was, of course, nearly dead.
Of course.
I figured it out. The only way to beat you is with your cockamamie sword.
Takamami.
What the hell's a cockamamie?
Is that so?
Nani?
Foam kick comes shooting out of his belly.
Yeah.
Hey, Blue Marvel, you still awake? No? Good. I'd hate to have to really hurt you. And now, let me borrow those Ursat's quantum bands of yours for a moment. ...
Starbrand.
He still has some Starbrand on him.
And we have this little talk with Kismet and stuff, but we've cut her out of this, so we're cutting her out.
Starfire and Booster Gold.
The
Oh
White
my
Room.
God, there's so much talking.
Hey, everybody, I'm back. And in case you're interested, I've won.
Plank.
Won't be needing this sword anymore.
Now, wait a minute. You just said it was awesome. It goes right through quantum banding, and it was given to you, and you got to throw it away? Eh?
Yeah, it's the sword of the Avenging Angel that was supposed to he was supposed to use.
It's not his. He's given
to
it back.
kill. He was supposed to kill someone that to avenge his death, but he didn't want to kill him because he's a pacifist.
Mm-hmm.
So he ends up using it instead for his salvation. Right there, you go, Marv. Hope you enjoy sitting here as much as I did. Folks, I still don't know much about this place and why you're all here. All I know is I'm not supposed to be here. And with my chair filled, there's no place for me to sit. How did you best... Oh, I'm sorry, Denali, that's you.
That's me. How did you best him without your quantum band? How did you resurrect yourself after he disintegrated you?
Disintegrated.
Disintegrated.
That had me confused for a time, too, Adwella.
Wow.
Oh my God. Oh,
wow.
all right. Now it's
Wow.
Quasar reads Bloody War and Peace.
All right.
Actually, he actually summarized the last 5 issues. That's what it is.
Yeah, so it's basically the Starbrand. And see, Kayla, what we didn't see in the last issue, she was just disintegrated, and her whole body actually grows into the form that, once again, that you saw her, and it resurrects her. So the Starbrand resurrects him here as well. Yeah.
Okay.
And then the potted plant, and the potted plant is Eon. So that's his not his avatar, his celestial being that oversees him, right? So and he explains everything else to him, and off we go.
Mm-hmm. And all that happens on the next page is we are on Earth, and there's some dude sitting there with a bad haircut, and the local bullies want to go try to give him a hard time, and JoJo's avatar comes out and punches him in the head. Mm-hmm.
Why would you approach someone with that many muscles and spikes and that terrible of a haircut? You know he's having a bad day. Why would you approach him and give him crap?
But that's where it ends, guys. So I guess the question comes down to, what did we think of? First of all, what did we think of that comic? Go ahead, Booster. Give us your opinion on that one.
It was old school cheesy fun.
Super.
I mean, it was unbelievably cheesy. It was refreshing, right? And I'm not gonna lie, I have hardly any idea what was going on because I skipped the pages with the crap ton of dialogue. As soon as when I turn a page and I see that many words on the page, I immediately kind of go, ugh, and I just skip it. I'm really bad like that.
Well,
yeah.
Yeah,
It was still
and
fun.
actually, to be fair, it was actually old school at the time it was written. Actually, I mean, especially some of those references. I mean, goodness gracious,
Yeah,
Bazooka Joe. I mean, I
Bazooka,
read that
and
when I
then
was little. I mean, ages
yeah,
have
I
come
and
though.
I didn't even know what that
when
means when I read it.
when he gets his hands cut off because the quantum bands are on his hands. So at some point during his life, yes, he gets his hands cut off. He's near death, and they're torturing him. He has a bit of the entity of death actually because he died earlier,
Hmm.
still within him. He produces this other little avatar of death called Kid Reaper, and Kid Reaper looks like they say that Wendell Vaughn liked Harvey comics, which of course sounds like Archie comics as
Hmm.
well. And this little thing, it looks like a almost like a bobblehead version of the Grim Reaper, and that's what uses it to basically kill Quasar. But of course, he's not really dead. But he's a helper to get him in touch with his inner self. Blah blah blah. So, but yeah, that happens a lot. You have a lot of this, like you said, old school references to something that now we're considering like old school to the old school.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
So, what did you think
and
about
goofy
this?
fun.
And goofy fun. Yeah. What would you think, Denali, about it?
Um, it's kind of hard to get into, to be honest. I mean, you listen to Booster right here, and he's like, "I checked out of the story a while ago."
Hmm.
I still
And
read it.
yeah, you still read it, but that's what I'm saying, and what I was kind of mentioning earlier is, you're trying to present this to kids that don't have the greatest attention span, and you're asking them to um, tell them
What are
about
you saying, Denali?
what I'm saying.
Yeah, just say it straight,
I
dude.
What I'm saying, no, I'm trying to say it straight, is that I could see why it got canceled and why it was too weird, you know, as of a story. You're dealing with all these higher level concept for kids who just wants an action packed story. A good story, nevertheless, but action packed. And
Hmm.
I can see why it would have been a struggle and why Wendell wasn't considered as a amazing hero because he had so many issues, mental health issues, self doubts, and all that kind of stuff.
Sure. Oh,
That's what I'm trying to say. He
okay.
wasn't a traditional hero, so
No.
so the kids didn't connect to him because nobody wants to hear about a hero who self doubts himself. You know, you look at Peter Parker. Yes, he has a lot of issue. He whines, but he still doesn't self doubt himself. He continues on with his problems. Wendell, on the other hand, he dies. He doesn't die one time. He
A
dies
lot.
4 times.
Hmm.
He's a pacifist. You're dealing with, issues with faith, issues with things. So you're having a lot of things thrown at you that you got to process. And if, the first impression is this character's kind of lame, you're not gonna deal. You're not gonna continue forward now. Now, as reading as an adult, I get what the writers were doing, and it's an awesome story. But if I was reading as a child or have booster mentality, I would have checked out of this book
Oh, sure.
Ouch.
because too wordy.
Oh
It is.
no.
And Derek Tyler says 60 issues was a good amount for a relatively unknown character. It's true.
Right.
It is true.
I,
Me
no,
personally, I guess the comments I would make about the comic specifically is the art is good and bad at the same time. It's weird. Because it is good. Look at all the backgrounds. Look at all the detail that's put in. It's very detailed, good art. It's good storytelling. But then again, it's off. Jaws are wrong on occasion. It's weird. It's almost like a capable artist who was rushed. Maybe I don't know. But it's good and bad at the same time. Um, as far as the story goes, this is just a little intermediary story between one thing that happened and the next thing that's going to happen. So it's an odd story to really get a good feel for the character, I think. But I have read some Quasar. I am in the process of reading. I'm not up to this point, and my opinion on Quasar is he is complicated. Uh, but he is interesting. But if I read him when I was younger, say a teenager, I would have hated this character. So
Yeah, yeah.
it's only with my
Yep.
years that I can appreciate him, to be honest with you.
Let me, and I want to tie up so a lot of those things that you said, like complicated. And this is the reason why I like it. Of course, you know the reason why I like him. But I think, as far as a Marvel character goes, he's almost the epitome of a real Marvel character, of so much that he encompasses, because he fights with the Avengers a lot in some of his, not outside of his own book. He was in the Avengers, and he fights on that street level. He thinks street level. He thinks like a person still. Yet he eventually goes to, he meets Oblivion. He faces his own death 4 times. He meets up with, when he fights Oblivion, he talks to Eternity. She comes to him. She makes him an avatar. He ends up being um cosmically huge, like the size of Galactus. Now he's not really in a physical form at that point, but he's in a form that Eternity was able to give him, an energy form, if you will, right? The size of Galactus, as he comes back to Earth to then get back inside his own body. He's able to do that because he's got the power of infinity, right? And he puts his own quantum bands back on his own arms and kind of resurrects himself, gets back into his body again. You know, a person that does that, you're out there. You're out there cosmically. He has the ability to take everything in stride and come away with, because he's a wholesome. I think he's a kid from Iowa, right? So he's a Middle Eastern guy, a Midwestern guy, right? He's from the Midwest.
Hmm.
He was raised to do the right thing. He had a mother, he had a father, a nuclear family, and he's just trying to do good in the world. And all of a sudden, he's thrown up against cosmic entities, and he takes it in stride. And so, like I say, the ultimate in Marvel, because Marvel throws cosmic at the reader, and then they throw you, Spider-Man and Doc Ock and stuff, and regular old Joe stuff. Embodies that in his perception. Then you get all the goofy, the quips, right? Normal language, and then a couple pages later, all of a sudden we're talking about faith, advanced concepts, and celestial creatures, and twisting concepts of abnormalities between entities, whether life and death is better than the next. To which Quasar then throws in the little twist of mental thinking that says, "Aha!" and this is why we win. So, like I said, I think altogether it wraps up some of the greatest concepts that Marvel's tried to ever piece together in a hero, while still being fairly unknown, with a name, like John Dillard says, like Wendell. By the way, his middle name is Elvis, so give him a break.
Okay. Nick W says, "What? Parker totally self-doubted himself. Yes, he did, but it was him overcoming his self-doubt that made him a hero." I Jordan, how can you have a hero and a pacifist and stay alive? Well, he doesn't. You'll have to be
He
a lucky
he
son.
died. He dies
He dies a
frequently.
lot.
He's the Kenny of Marvel.
He is. He is Kenny.
Um,
That's true.
ask ask Alvin York,
Okay. I
one of
don't
the
know what
most
that means,
one,
but
Alvin York, the one of the most praised World War I veteran, who
oh,
was a
York. Oh,
pacifist.
I'm sorry. Yep.
Yes, Sergeant York. He was a
Sergeant York.
pacifist. He didn't want to fight, but
Yes.
he was thrown into the war, and yes, won the war for everybody. Yay, America!
Yay, America. Now, Booster, question. We usually do a little
Yes.
bit of over under. It's a little troublesome with this character because he's really not known very well, much at all. Do you think this character is underappreciated, or do you think he's just fine where he is?
Well, I don't really know enough about him to say that, and I don't know enough about Marvel to say much about him either. But if I ever read a Marvel comic and I see Quasar, I'd be like, hey, that's that guy my buddy DeWolf likes, and I'll be like, that's swell.
There you go. How about you, Denelli?
Um, the adult for me would say it's underrated. The kid with me would say he's overrated.
Okay. Me personally is because the character is complicated, and because the character is basically Marvel's version of a Green Lantern. I would say it's fine just where it is because they couldn't push it more because people would just start screaming, "Oh, it's just a copy of the Green Lantern more." So unfortunately, the character is what it is. Although DeWolf was telling us earlier that there's a female version now, and she's a lesbian. Yay!
Oh, yes.
You know what
So
would be
Ooh, I'll
be
be interested
interesting?
in that version.
I was gonna say, you know what would be interesting? A Grant Morrison version
Mm.
That would be interesting, actually.
of Quasar,
Hmm.
because
So
this is up his alley.
It is.
yeah, eventually he ends up having to be killed off in issue 60 again, but he fakes his death and he goes up into the stars and he joins the Star Masters, right? Silver Surfer, Beta Ray Bill,
Mhm.
and of course they kick Cosmic butt, and then apparently he joins the Annihilists. I think Star Lord has a quote that says something to the point of, because there's so much bad creatures out in the galaxy, that the Guardians of the Galaxy, even they're not strong enough to take them on. We need some real guys that are willing to go in there and kick butt. And so that's what the Annihilists are supposed to be. And they're I don't know, they almost borrow a little bit of the concept of the Punisher in the way, no, not to that extreme, but they get very serious with cosmic foes. Quasar apparently joins to be the token human, so that Earth knows, what's going on with these guys, and to be the guy to say, "Whoa, whoa, hold back," whenever they go too far. Like, Drax the Destroyer wants to just beat someone down completely, right? Or maybe it's Gladiator. I kind of forget. I didn't follow the Annihilus too close, but he's the voice of reason, which you can see being the pacifist guy. He's going to do that. And then finally, he ends up getting blasted and disintegrated and killed again. Lavelle, Marvel's daughter, ends up taking the quantum bands, to which she ends up dying. And the quantum bands end up in a museum in Pleasantville, which is a happy home for villains. And it's coordinated by SHIELD agents. And there happens to be greatest, coolest, awesome chick SHIELD agent there, and so when something bad goes down, she goes to the museum curated by the old Wendell Vaughn, puts them on, and becomes the girl version of Quasar, and she has to do training, and her name is Avril. How cool is that for a name?
Mm-hmm.
And but her training goes awry when she doesn't get to spend enough time with her girlfriend Joy.
That's true.
And that was the 2016 concept of Quasar, and that was also the rise of Comicsgate.
Yes, it was. Yep.
So,
Yep. And me, Grimlock King 83 says, I always thought the Nova Corps were Marvel's version of the Lanterns. Well, they're the version of the Lantern Corps. But Quasar and these bands, they basically make yellow colored shapes of anything they want. It's the power ring is what it is. That's what I meant by it. Pleasantville, great movie. Not connected.
nice. Interestingly enough, the quantum bands originally got their powers from the pulsating quasar somewhere out there, or the power of all quasars, hence the name. Then they changed that to the quantum zone. Now in the MCU, we find out, right, if you shrink, you go into the quantum zone. So, or the quantum dimension. So I'm wondering if they do bring in Quasar and his power bands tap into the quantum zone, and we get another superpowered cosmic entity tied into that via, that whole storyline they've created.
Wow, who knows? Nick W does tell Grimlock King that Marvel seems to have numerous DC superhero copies. Well, so does DC. They copy each other left and right, dude.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
And
yeah. You can't say who copies who the most. They do it to each
they
other
do it a
all the
lot.
time.
Yeah,
And some of the best characters are copycat characters. It's how we get great characters.
it's true.
Is through this competition.
Yep.
Yeah,
And and the thing with the original Quantum Bands just produced light, by the way. They revamped that when they brought it back in the Fantastic Four, I believe.
Yeah, Marvel Boy would shoot light out and blind people, and that was back in the 50s. They hadn't come up with all these concepts. And then Quasar, yeah, he creates everything that you saw Marvel Boy do in this issue is the type of things that Quasar would do, but better.
Mm-hmm.
And he would often use containment. In issue number 6, he gets to fight Venom, And Venom, of course, shoots a web at him, which he just blocks away with a shield, and he shoots his own quantum light web net at Venom, wraps him up, and he can't get out, and he takes him back to prison. It's an epic one-page fight.
One-page epic.
Sorry,
epic
Venom fan.
one-page fight. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess DeWolf, you love this character, so we've all kind of either kind of just deferred to you. Do you think he's overrated or underrated?
Obviously, I'm going to say that he is underrated.
Mhm.
And that's not because of his power base. That's because of the nuances and the mental highs and lows that are within the book that
Do you
they go into.
Do you think they'll bring him back?
Him?
Mhm.
Oh, yeah, I think it's possible because I guess the Avril character is already gone,
Yeah.
and I think it determines on what happens in comics today, right? What happens
Yeah.
with the Renaissance? What happens with the comics correction? If they're going to bring back Quasar in the MCU, once again, because he can possibly work with, if they bring in Silver Surfer, if they need someone to I don't know, pal around with Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel, they want someone to tie into the Quantum Zone. Like I said, they then will probably reboot the comic book, right?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we know what happens when they reboot things like Dazzler, like the West Coast Avengers, and then the new and improved Quasar #1, who now has a gay boyfriend.
Yeah, probably.
I mean,
Not to mention,
Yeah.
Dazzler has a new friend, Shade, who's a cross-dresser or whatever, transvestite.
right.
Wonderful. Pope
Yep,
Fire
yep.
says,
And especially when you look at his concepts of pacifism, not wanting to kill someone just to kill them for a vengeance and all that kind of stuff. I mean, that almost is wonderful to the SJW concept. But when they write Quasar, it's not from the SJW standpoint. It's from the standpoint of, I have power. He's Superman. I have all this power. I don't need to kill people. I contain them. I try to reason things out first. He's very Superman-esque in that regard, not
That's
just
true.
Green Lantern.
Yeah.
He's Superman with Green Lantern's powers.
yes, okay. I guess
Yeah.
that's one way to look at him. But anyway, guys, we have covered Quasar quite well. I think if you didn't know who he was, now you know who he is. We
we're
do.
sorry.
Yes, yes. And we do try to introduce some characters everyone likes, but also new things too. We want to talk about all the different aspects of comics and different characters and ideas, because that's one of the cool thing about comics. There's so many different type of heroes. They're not all the same. But I really appreciate being able to do that, and I'm glad we finally got to do this, DeWolf, talking about Quasar. Keep in mind, guys, that we do have coming up, of course, tomorrow on Blacklist Universe, you have the Pro Edition of Drawn and Quartered, and on Thursday, you have the Fan Edition at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But other than that, we have our normal shows at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as usual. And of course, this week on Fan Speak, which is normal on the Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we will be having an absolutely great guest. I'm really excited about it, looking forward to it. Why don't you tell them about that, Denali, and then go ahead and take us out, man.
All right, so we have Tom Coker for this Friday fan speak at 8 p.m. We have Evil Dead 2 for Bunny Vision Movie Night on Saturday at 8 p.m. We have the Pro Edition, which will probably be on Mike Miller's channel, Blacklist Universe. And then we have the Fan Edition here on Thursday at 8 p.m. But I believe the 31st is going to be on Ignition's channel.
That's right. That's correct. Yeah.
Excellent. But as always, thank you for joining us. Sorry for the snafu from earlier.
Whatever
Whatever that was. But always, your perception shapes your reality. So always make it a good one.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Later, guys.
Aloha.